Graham Matthews, and I hope you know by now, I run Empowered STEM. So tonight, I want to come in. I'm talking to the UAE parents, okay, and I wanted to talk about coaching versus tutoring, what top A level students really need. And so it's a comparison between coaching, it's a comparison between tutoring, and how it can help your teen earn the A and the A star they need in A level maths and A level science courses. So, parents, let me ask you this one then. As a parent, have you hired a private tutor? Now, look, you can either post it into the chat or you can put a message into the DM. Have you hired a private tutor, number one? I totally lose my voice. Or number two, are you thinking about hiring a private tutor? Okay, so, well, yeah, okay, great. We've hired a private tutor, or we're thinking about hiring one. Okay, well, if you've hired a private tutor, let me ask you this question. Have you noticed that your teen, you aren't seeing the jump that your teen needs in their confidence or the grades that you were hoping for? You know, parents, a lot of parents, when we talk to the parents, they say, we hired a private tutor and we're not seeing the jump that we expected. My child is still not confident when it comes to A-level maths and A-level chemistry. What are we doing wrong? Well, the answer is, parents, is that you're not doing anything wrong because you're not alone in this one. This happens to a lot of parents who hire a tutor. And the reason is because tutoring, it isn't always the answer. Okay, because what you got to think about is this, is that we are talking about helping your teen become a high performance teen. A teen that is going to get the A or the A star in A-level maths and science. They are going to go ahead and be competitive candidates for medical, dental, veterinary, financial engineering programs at the chosen university in the UK or in the US. Well, at that level of performance, what you do is you go beyond tutoring and you move into the realm of academic coaching. And this is what I wanted to talk about tonight. Because, again, I think if you don't know by now, and legal standing over there, I don't like tutoring. I don't like group tutoring, or as they're calling it now, the webinar model. My opinion is it's a complete waste of your time, money, and effort. But that's my opinion, and that's my opinion from working with over 500 students and helping them become the top performing students, okay? So the reason I have an issue with tutoring is that most tutoring is reactive. And so again, parents, if you're a parent who has hired a tutor, maybe you can leave a message in the chat and go, well, actually, what Graham is saying is true, because we talk to so many parents, and it's this, they say, well, the problem is, Graham, with the tutoring is that there seems to be a lesson here, or maybe there's a worksheet over there, or maybe there's a little help on this topic. There's no strategy. There's no system. There's no roadmap to the A star we are talking about. It just seems that when the tutor, when they come around and spend some time with my teen, either on a Zoom call or in one of those webinars with 98 students in it, oh gosh, don't get me started. It just seems to be light. It seems to be fluffy. My teen asks the tutor, well, I'm stuck on this question. Can you help me with this? Or I've got to do this bit of homework, or do you have some questions on this bit? And of course, in other words, parents, what I'm saying is that your teen is driving the conversation with the tutor. You have to stop and think, is that really the best choice? Your teen, who doesn't know A-level chemistry, biology, physics, or maths, is now guiding the tutor, saying, well, this is what I need help with. It's a reactive state, because what they're trying to do is get help with the homework or the upcoming test. They're not thinking long term. They're not thinking strategy. And so tutoring, in my opinion, it doesn't have strategy. It's just reactive. There's no system. I have yet to meet a private tutor. I have yet to meet somebody who runs group tutoring that has a strategy and a system in place, because they can't. Because, well, why not, Graham? Well, simple. Because if you are a private tutor, you are working for the hour of time, and so you have to make sure you get paid for everything, and so you put as much work onto the team as possible to maximize your profit. This is why the private tutor, when they show up, says, "What are we working on tonight?" Right? They don't have to plan, do they? Or if you're with a group tutor, one of these mega classes, like one of those mega churches that I call it, there's no system there, because you can't have a system that effectively gets all the students through the program, as they now call it, up to an A or an A star. There's no roadmap to the A star. To me, they're just running time. They're running down the clock for the hour. Let's compare it to coaching. Now, academic coaching is all about transformation. And this is what the difference is, parents. Is all about transformation. It's about transforming your teen, your son, your daughter, from who they are now into who they need to be in order to earn the A and the A star, so they can be competitive candidates for the chosen program, and they can be successful at university. Academic coaching is proactive, strategic, and purpose-driven. This is what the difference is. It's proactive because the course tutor, they're not thinking, well, I've got to get them through the homework that they have to have done by tomorrow or the test at the end of the week. They have a plan, and so they're proactive about it. They have the time and the space to be able to see what your teen needs help with, and then move them in that way. So it's proactive, thinking ahead with a plan, rather than reactive. It's strategic because they're following a roadmap to the A star. They've done it before. They have strategies in place which allow them to think ahead, not they're putting a fire out. It's purpose-driven because the course tutor that is running academic coaching, the purpose is to help your teen become the type of teen that would get the A or the A star. It's transformational for them, right? And so, what your teen needs, in my opinion, what your teen needs is that your teen needs an academic coach if and only if they are a high-performing student. You go, well, yes, Graham, how would you define a high-performing student? Well, quite simply put then, right? If your teen wants to study medicine, they want to study engineering, they've got their heart set on a top university in the UK or the US, then they, in my opinion, would be classified as a high-performing student. And high-performing students need academic coaching. They don't need tutoring. This is what the difference is. All right. So here we are then. Here's the three differences between coaching and tutoring. Coaching builds skills and not knowledge. Yes, I will admit that you can hire a tutor. You can, and the tutor will help your teen understand the topic. And the hour that you pay for, they will certainly review the concept that has been taught in school that week. They'll certainly help them with the homework. Absolutely. They'll maybe give them some practice questions you can find on the internet. Got it. So they can help your teen understand the topic. But this is the difference between tutoring and academic coaching. The coach make sure that you can apply the knowledge. See, like the slight difference there, right? The tutor, yeah, they can help you fill the bucket with sand. The academic coach is going to help you build the castle. This is what the difference is, right? And so the academic coach, what they're going to do is that they make sure that your teen can work under pressure and with unfamiliar questions. Because again, now I mentioned this, parents, in a previous live stream. Your teen is under tremendous pressure to succeed. Getting an A or an A star in A-level chemistry, biology, physics, or maths has to be one of the most difficult challenges they've ever undertaken in their lives. And so there's a huge amount of pressure. Think, at the end of year 12, they have to take the UCAS prediction exam, where the exam grade determines which university they can apply to. Not get in, but can apply to. At the end of year 13, you have to sit in the sports hall and take the exam, which determines which university that they can get into, and it determines which career path they can go down to. Can they become a doctor, a dentist, a veterinarian? And so a tremendous amount of pressure. Okay. Now, the other issue is that Oxford University has changed up the exam format. And the reason why they did that is because they figured out that students could get a passing grade by memorizing. So if your teen was walking around with enough past papers, they could kind of get a passing grade just good enough because the exam questions they used to repeat a lot. So they didn't understand it. They just knew what the examiner wanted them to put down, so they scribbled it down on the paper. Whereas now, the question is all application-based. It's all questions that they've never seen before. And this was done in order to differentiate, to sort out the students who want the A and the A star, who can apply the knowledge, and those students that are just memorizing and scraping by. So parents, you need to ask yourself, is your teen one that wants to get the A and the A star to be transformational? Or do they just want to scrape by with a passing grade and possibly get into a university through clearing? Maybe take a degree that was kind of what they wanted to do in the first place. All right. So what we do then is this, is to help students be able to apply the topic, the concept in unfamiliar questions and work under pressure. What we do is that we do something as part of our academic coaching that you can't get in group tutoring. You can't get with private tutoring. We teach some exam technique. So yes, the content is taught and your teen knows the content inside and out with us. Solid. It's a foundation made of granite. But they've got to be able to apply it. And one thing they need to do is that they need to work on their exam technique. Because you may know the content, and when you take the exam, the way that the examiners write those questions, parents, they're designed to be full of examiner traps and pitfalls. Your teen needs to know the exam technique, how to be a good test taker, how to read the question, how to connect it with, understand what the concept is that's being taught. They know what to do to answer the question. They get it. So we work on exam technique. The second one is, and I mentioned this the other day, is that we teach study skills and we teach strategic revision planning. There's one thing we don't teach is how to memorize mark schemes. We don't do that, parents. You memorize a mark scheme, you're going to get a C. C stands for could have gone to medical school. But on the other hand, and this is because your teen school did not teach them how to do this. Your teen school, by the way, has let them down, is we teach them how to revise. There's an art to it. There's a technique to it. And we teach them that. We also teach some time management. Because, you know, how many times, parents, has your teen said to you, "Oh, mom, dad, if only I had another day, if I wasn't so busy, I got so many deadlines, what am I going to do?" It's time management. And again, your teen school has not taught your teen effective time management. We do. And so the teens in our courses, not only do they have rock solid strategic revision plans, they're using their time wisely, they also know how to manage their time as well. Get out of the, "Oh, I'm up all night studying," or it's a last minute job to get the work done. But we also work on performance psychology, which is a big one. And again, this is something, parents, I have not seen anybody out there do it, especially in group tutoring, the webinar model, private tutoring, anybody else. It's performance psychology. And this is one thing that sets Empowered STEM apart, is that we teach your teen how to perform under pressure. So when they walk into the exam hall, they are cool and confident. They know that they're going to do extremely well on that test in year 12 or year 13. They know the content. They know the exam technique. They got the performance psychology. They've got the mindset. And to them, they're just writing down the answer. What they're really doing, parents, is that they're writing the next chapter of their lives. If you take academic coaching with a pen. Whereas if you take tutoring, you're scribbling the next chapter on your life on the back of an envelope with a worn out pencil. Now, as we know at Empowered STEM, we know this. It's not just what you know, it's not the content, it's how you use it, it's how you apply it. The second thing that we teach is this. The second difference between academic coaching and tutoring is this, is that coaching uses systems, not guesswork. So if we link back into the comparison of tutoring and academic coaching, what do tutors do? They follow the lead of your teen, your son, your daughter. They don't have a system. They don't have a plan. What it is just guesswork. "Oh, I'll be working on this tonight." Okay. "You need some help with this question? I can help you with this." "Oh, a worksheet? Well, your teacher gave you this one, right?" And if you listen into a conversation with a tutor or someone who's running group tutoring, this is exactly what you'll hear all the time. You will hear them ask the teen, "What are we working on tonight? What are we doing? What do you need help with?" And again, parents, you got to ask yourself, are you spending your teen's time wisely and your money wisely? Or is the tutor just running down the clock? The sand is going through the hourglass. Whereas coaching, on the other hand, coaching follows a proven system, one that drives consistent results. Parents, we consistently get teens in our programs A and A-star grades. It's what we do. Now, how we do it at Empowered STEM is this, is that we use the PATH method. Now, I've talked about the PATH method before. There's 4 steps to the PATH method. First step is precision diagnosis. Precision diagnosis is this, is that when your teen comes in, what we do is they have a baseline test. And so we know what they know and we know what they don't know, and we put a plan together for them to help them understand and learn what they don't know. The second part of it is conceptual clarity. Your teen needs to be really solid in their understanding of the concepts, crystal clear. They need conceptual clarity, not, "Oh, well, I kind of get it. Well, yeah, I think this is the answer. Or maybe I partially got it right." No, they need to know inside and out. They need to have the level of conceptual clarity that a doctor would have if he worked in an A&E or a surgeon. Strategic revision is the third step. And again, what we do with this bit is we help your teen revise. Not only study, but revise in a way that works with the way that they learn. And so the information, it sticks in their head and they can apply it. And so they're not spending hours and hours memorizing mark schemes or just doing questions over and over again. There is a plan, there is a strategy. And of course, the fourth step is medical mindset. The medical mindset it's the performance psychology bit. It's helping them perform under pressure. So these are the 4 steps of the PATH method: precision diagnosis, conceptual clarity, strategic revision, and medical mindset. Now, parents, using this system, like I said, we've taught over 500 students now. Using this system, we have consistently moved students' letter grades in one term. For example, students come into us with a B or a C, and at the end of the course, they're sitting at an A or an A star. And the parents think that it's transformational. Well, it is. But the reason why it's transformational is that we have a blueprint, a plan, a pathway to the A and the A star that students before your teen have walked. And so this is how we know that it works. The third one is the third difference between tutoring and academic coaching is this one. Coaching develops the whole student. We take a holistic approach to it. Because I think you would agree, parents, that top students, they are smart. Your son, your daughter is smart. Let's be honest about it. They've got top grades at GCSE, didn't they? They all got 9s. They all got 8s. They all got 9s. They're well qualified to take A-level chemistry, biology, physics, and maths. Well, of course they are. So your son, your daughter is smart. But top students, they're also focused. They're also self-aware. They're also resilient. And these are 3 traits that we help your teen develop as they transform into this type of student. They're focused on their work. They have laser-like focus, deep concentration, absolutely. They're self-aware. They know what they know, and they know what they don't know. And they're willing to learn what they don't know. Resilient. Sure, they can bounce back from a bad test grade, a bad lab report grade, a bad day. Because let's be honest, parents, it happens to all of us, right? So, the difference between tutoring then and coaching is that coaching develops mindset. It develops motivation. It develops discipline. And these are 3 traits that your teen needs if they're to be successful at the A levels in maths and science. Now, the A level pressure that I'm talking about is real for your teen. It really is real. And we get it. We understand that there's a lot riding on these exams. There's a lot riding on these tests. Every mark counts. Every grade boundary matters. We understand that. But we help your teen, this is the performance psychology bit, we help your teen be calm under stress and to bounce back from setbacks. Because again, it's hard work. Getting the A and the A star, it's hard work, parents. It's going to be stressful. We minimize the stress for your teen, absolutely. So we help them handle the stress. We help them bounce back from setbacks. But this is something that, again, we do at Empowered STEM that I've not seen anybody in group tutoring. I've not seen any of the private tutors do. You know, the one-on-one tutors, is that we really help your teen believe that they can succeed. And this is key. I'll say it again. We really help your teen believe that they can succeed, that they can do it. They're not just going through the motions, parents. Oh, I'll make mom and dad happy. I'll take A-level chemistry, for example. No, they believe that they can earn the A and the A star. They have an unshakable amount of certainty that they can do it. They know with the right skills, with the right strategy, with the right training, that this dream is going to become reality. And yes, they are going to lock in the A and the A star. Now, this again, this is academic coaching, and this is what we teach at Empowered STEM. Now, parents, again, you can put this into the chat. I see lots of people coming in. By the way, thank you so much for stopping by the live stream. I do. We talk to a lot of parents, and they all say that they all have the best intention. They say they say, well, you know what? I thought the more tutoring would help my teen. I want my teen to be successful. I don't want to see them upstairs miserable, stressed out, crying. No, I want to see them successful. I thought that tutoring would help. But the problem is that, well, you know, my teen just, well, they go to the tutoring sessions, Graham, but they're just going through the motions. You know, they sit down with the tutor, they pay attention for an hour, they do what they say, but they don't have the drive. They're just going through the motions with it. Or for those students that are stuck in the group tutoring model, they're just sitting in a webinar. It's what it is. It's a webinar, parents. They're just sitting in a webinar, eyes glazed over, thinking, you know, I've heard this before at school. I didn't get it at school. I got to go through 2 hours a week or 3 hours a week of this just to make mom and dad happy because they bought the program for me. And, oh, you know, I'm bored. It's not helping me at all. I know how to do this bit. I mean, why have I got to sit through this bit? Because I know how to do this. I need help on this bit. And so they just go through the motions with tutoring, especially with group tutoring. And the reason is this. Look, tutoring treats symptoms. Coaching solves root problems. This is the difference between tutoring and coaching, okay? So tutoring treats symptoms. It does. Your son, your daughter comes home with a bad test grade, with a bad grade at the end of the first term. What's the very first thing you do? Oh, my son, my daughter needs a tutor. Right. And so what it is you rush out and you get a tutor because the tutor is going to come in and treat the symptom, the immediate symptom, which is the bad test grade, which is the poor grade in the mark book. It's reactive. Okay. Whereas coaching solves root problems. It helps your teen with mindset. It helps your teen with performance psychology. It helps your teen with time management. It helps your teen with revision strategies. In other words, it helps your teen transform. This is what the difference is. So, yes, parents, you know, you could go down the route of group tutoring. You could. I totally agree. But the problem is with group tutoring or tutoring, what you're doing is that you're adding another hour of revision. Content management. Wouldn't you like to show your teen how they can revise and get it in half the time? Well, exactly. This is what academic coaching does. It gets you there faster. It's a better use of your time. It's a better use of your money. It helps your teen transform into who they need to be in order to lock in to secure those top grades in A-level chemistry, biology, physics, and maths. Now, we have loads and loads of testimonials, but there's three that always come to mind. The first one is about Harry, because parents always ask, well, you know, can you tell us a few stories? Oh, sure. Let me tell you the story about Harry. When Harry came to us, Harry had a D. He had a D in A-level chemistry. The school system had let him down. It really had. Harry had a D in A-level chemistry. He spent hours and hours trying to study and learn mark schemes and the wrong approach. His mother, Anne, reached out to us and said, "Can you help?" Well, of course we can. And so Harry went through our A level chemistry course, and he was transformed from the student that didn't know to the student that did know. His grade moved from a D to an A. So when Harry completed A level chemistry, he had an A in A level chemistry. He then applied to his chosen vet school, and now he's studying to be a small animal vet. And this is what Harry wanted to do in the first place. So what we did with Harry is that we helped Harry realign and restore his dream of being a small animal vet. And we got him to believe in himself again through academic coaching, that yes, he could do it, that there wasn't anything wrong with him, like the school said. We can't do it. Well, of course he could, because you can do it with the right strategies and the right support. So Harry got the A. Then there's Fatima. Fatima is another one. When Fatima came to us, she had a B. All over the place. She had these moleskin books, beautiful moleskin books she used to show us, color-coded notes and diagrams. Honestly, parents, it was like Picasso drew it. Problem was, she didn't have exam technique. And she was beginning to lose confidence in herself. So again, we reestablished her dream. She wanted to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. That's the only thing in life she wanted to be, was a cardiothoracic surgeon. She had a dream set high. Realigned the dream, helped to rebuild her confidence, her belief in herself. She went through the transformational process of learning how to revise strategically. She moved from a B to an A star. By the way, Fatima is enrolled at UEA. She is in medical school and she is studying to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. And the last one is Iggy. Now, Iggy, in her words, when she joined us, she was confused about chemistry. She went from confused to confident, is what she said. She came in with a C. Didn't have the right system in place. Didn't have the right support. But she was willing to change that. So Iggy adopted our system, the system of success. And then Iggy moved from a C to an A in A-level chemistry. And this pattern repeats itself, parents, over and over and over again. Because at the end of the day, your team doesn't need more tutoring. They don't need more content management. They don't need to be in group tutoring. Hold on. Legal's looking at me, which in my opinion, group tutoring is a Netflix of education. I'll try this bit for a month. I'll try this plan for a month. I saw on the internet. Is it 12 weeks or a month? Oh, group tutoring, fine. Didn't work. I'll try this one. Okay, hold on, maybe this one. Like, what is your team doing? Are they just like flicking through the channels of education, trying to find some group tutoring model that's going to help them out? Or on the other hand, are they not wasting their time? Are they being strategic with what they do? Have they moved over to academic coaching? Because I believe that the students who are successful and get the A and the A star in A-level maths and science, they don't need more tutoring. What they need is they need more structure. They need more strategy. They need more coaching. This is what I believe is the difference between tutoring and academic coaching. It's a difference between your teen, your son, your daughter getting a C, and your son, your daughter securing the A or the A star. So it's up to you, parents. What you need to think is, well, Do you really want to book out another private lesson with your teen? Do you really want to waste more time and money with one of those group tutoring programs that, in my opinion, don't get the results? Or do you want to step over to academic coaching and use a system for your teen that builds the skills, the confidence, and a clear path to an A or an A star? Now, I did say on this live stream, by the way, parents, I did say on this live stream that I would take some questions. All right, so we had some questions submitted, and so again, you can put these. If you have extra questions, by all means, put them into the chat. Send us a DM. All right, but here we go then. Very first question that was submitted. Right, how do I know if my teen needs coaching or tutoring? Good one. How do I know if my teen needs coaching or tutoring? Well, if your teen knows the content, but they're struggling on the exams, in other words, they're not performing very well, the issue is it's a mindset or exam technique issue that we need to resolve. And how you resolve a mindset or an exam technique problem is that you move over to academic coaching. Because what academic coaching gives you is it gives you a systematic approach. It's logical. It gives you measurable progress. You can see the progress that your teen is making with an academic coach week by week. And it's being proven to get top results, to lock in the A and the A star. Okay. Now, again, academic coaching is not for everybody, parents. It's for those students that they're going for a competitive placement, as in a placement at a top university in the UK or a Division 1 university in the US. One of the competitive programs, for example, medical, dental, veterinary, financial, engineering programs. Because what your teen needs, what they don't need is they don't need more help with homework. They don't need a tutor. What they need is that they need a roadmap to success so that they can follow the path. And in my opinion, that comes from academic coaching. All right, the next one. Will coaching work with students who are behind or struggling? Okay, yeah, good question. So will coaching work with students who are behind or struggling? Yes, academic coaching will work with students who are behind or struggling because they just don't need more content. They need the right approach. They need systems. They need a plan. And like I said, the very first thing that we do at Empowered STEM is that we start off in the very first step of the pathway, which is precision diagnosis. And this is how, by the way, in our courses at Empowered STEM, routinely, we see students move from a C to an A, sometime in as little as 12 weeks. Okay. It just happens over and over again. Parents, you can literally set the clock by it. That you will know when the teen will contact you and say, you're not going to believe what grade I got at school on this test. My grade in the mock book is now this. Okay, last one then. What do I do if my teen already has a tutor? Well, as you know, parents, I don't think anything of tutoring, and I really don't think anything of group tutoring. All right. And so that's just my personal opinion. All right. So, but I would say if your teen is working with a tutor or if they're in one of these group coaching webinars, I would ask ask the tutor, ask the person running the webinar, well, what's the plan? Do you have a plan? What is it? Because with us at Empowered STEM, your teen gets mock exams once every 2 weeks. We teach them strategic revision. And this is the bit that makes the difference. This is the difference that makes the difference. We use neuroscience based methods. Yes, we use the 6 pillars of neuroscience as applied to learning in all of our courses. And like I said, parents, I've never seen anybody do this in private tutoring, or certainly not in group tutoring, because how are you supposed to teach this when you have 98 students on a webinar? So, tutoring, like I said, it's more reactive. It fixes the symptoms. Academic coaching is more proactive. It solves the root problems. So, what a lot of parents do is this one. A lot of parents do is that they do come to us even though they've got a tutor. And they do hire us even though they've got a tutor. And that's okay. Because what we notice is this is that they start with us and they've got a tutor, they've either got a few more weeks left on this group tutoring plan, they're not going to upgrade, the next month, or they're in the process of de-hiring the private tutor. So they hire us and they still got the tutor in the background, but then what they notice is this, is that after a while, we're delivering the results that they wanted from tutoring, but they weren't getting. And so this is when they decide, we don't need to waste money anymore on a private tutor. No, you don't. We don't need to listen to the sales pitch and re-up, as they call it, for another month of group tutoring because they couldn't solve the problem in the time they said that they could. So no, they just cut out tutoring. It's a transition over to transformation. It's a transition from confusion over to clarity. Now, as I said, parents, as I said, look, you can tell that I really want to see your teen be successful in A-level maths and A-level science. And so if you're watching this webinar and I do this live stream, I do see a lot of people coming in. All right, thank you so much for staying with me until the end. If you're watching this live stream and you're thinking, actually, Graham, you know what you said about tutoring versus academic coaching actually makes a bit of sense, then you are more than welcome, and you want to learn more, you're more than welcome to click the link in the description, and it will allow you to learn more about our A-level courses. You can have a non-committal conversation with a member of our team, have all your questions answered, and then if we're a good fit and you want to work with us and you want to see your teen transform into the top student, then you can go ahead. Because at Empowered STEM, we build top students one student at a time. And your teen could be the next one. Take care. I'll see you in the next live.